Meet John, 55, and Nancy, 54, who are planning to retire at 60. They're wondering if they're on track for their dream retirement. John and Nancy look forward to enjoying hobbies like gardening, painting, and woodworking in retirement. They also plan to travel internationally, spend more time with family, including future grandchildren, and volunteer locally. Hi, I'm Mike, a certified retirement planning counselor dedicated to helping thousands navigate retirement with confidence. Now, let's dive into today's video and assist John and Nancy on their retirement journey. Okay, here we are at John and Nancy's retirement plan. Let's run through their numbers quickly here. They have a little bit of money in cash. Their investment accounts are distributed evenly here. And then they have a paid off home worth $650,000. Their goals, they're obviously want to retire at 60. They want about $6,500 a month in expenses. I have estimated some healthcare costs for them. Pre-Medicare, it's quite expensive, and then a bit cheaper from there on out. And then I do, as standard, have 2 years of long-term care expenses for their plan. And then they mentioned vacations, so I have in here $12,000 for those international vacations they wanted to take, and that runs every year for 20 years. On income, John does have a small pension from a former employer here. Social Security is updated and entered here for each of them. And then currently, right now, they're maxing out their 401ks each. And then whatever left over is kind of trickling into their brokerage account. Let's take a look more at the retirement analysis. So 62%, not amazing, but I'm actually doing, I'm taking some quite conservative estimates here. So it's actually better than it looks here. So one thing I have here is I have the retirement spending keeping up with inflation. Typically, I have the retirement spending smile, which means your spending, your retirement spending will be inflation less 1%. So if inflation's 3, your spending would go up by 2%, right? That's typically what I do. Now, since they're worried about inflation, their spending keeping up with inflation, I'm going to be extra conservative, and we're going to have their spending just keep up with inflation here. And what are their options here? So this plan, there's no free lunch here. They don't have any simple options where I can get this into the 80s easily. Okay, now I don't think they need to be in the 80s. They could probably be in the 70% probability of success because they are still 5 years away from retirement. A lot can change in 5 years, right? We will reassess then. So getting it somewhere in the 70s, I'd feel a lot more comfortable with because we're being so conservative with the inflation numbers and the house numbers. So their options, right? So some simple options here, right? What if we dropped expenses by 500? What does that look like, right? That helps a little bit. Gets you to 70, helps a little bit. Now, no one likes to do that, so I understand. Let's take a look at some other options. Let's take a look at selling their house at John's retirement in 5 years and downsizing to something that costs $450,000. So selling the $650,000 house, moving into something like $450,000, invest the difference. How does that help? That gets us to 70%, which is better. And then based on that, we can actually delay filing till age 70. They're originally going to do 67 full retirement age. And this actually allows them to delay a little further because they'll have a little bit more cash on hand and we can get it up to 74%. So that's not bad either. So there are 2 options there. Let me show you the base. Let's take a look. And then we could also, an even better option is, what if you sold the house right now? Right? And so that allows that $200,000 to, or 150 net of fees, whatever you want to call it, to actually grow for longer. And so therefore we get up to 79%. I also like that. So that's probably the easiest move they can do right now. Let's take a look at some other ones. Let's go back to never selling, never moving. And what if we work a couple more years here? That will help considerably with healthcare costs too, because you'll stay on your employer's healthcare, and we're at 78%. So John works 2 more years, Nancy 1 more year, so they kind of retire together. Less medical costs because you're staying on employer plans, more income, more saving. You're not drawing down those assets as early. Now we're at 78%. So you can see here there's working a little bit longer, spending a little bit less, and then your house, doing something with your house. Those are the main options, the simplest options here for them. And obviously they can combine them, but I would feel more comfortable with something in the 70s as of right now. You're still 5 years away. So, we can still make more changes. And also all these changes, working longer, reducing retirement spending, and selling the house at retirement, they're all 5 years down the line. So it's not like you have to make a decision right now. You could wait, reassess at that point. If everything goes well, maybe you don't have to make as drastic of changes. Maybe it's 1 more year of working, or downsizing into a slightly bigger home, or less. Who knows? Things can change. So that's fine. If they would take the option of downsizing now, it obviously has a bigger impact on their plan, and that's the only option really they have to consider right now in this case. A couple more things. What do I want to cover? I want to show you what a not conservative plan could be, right? So let's reset all this here. And what if we said, we're not worried about inflation adjustment. Let's do retirement spending smile, which I normally do. And let's say, we're not going to even worry about long-term care because the $650,000 house is just going to cover long-term care. And you can see they're at a 91%. So if we took a lot less conservative estimates, spending plan doesn't have to keep up with inflation. The house is just basically your long-term care insurance. You're good to go. Okay. Now the reason you're getting in this number is because we are being quite a bit more conservative. But this is how I would plan for it. Would be retirement spending smile, and here, which you're on track, right? 3/4 of the time, you don't have to do anything. Everything works out perfectly, right? 1/4 of the time, you might have to cut back a couple $100 or make one of those decisions, but they're in relatively good shape here. I do think based on their conservative mindset, they will have to make one adjustment by the time they're 60, most likely. It's going to be work a little longer, work part-time maybe, sell the house now, sell the house later, reduce expenses a little bit. Some combination of that. There will probably be an adjustment. If you did like the video and you found it helpful or entertaining, please give me a like, drop me a comment. You can take the retirement income style assessment. I'll link that down below in the comments. But besides that, take care.